Ace is high. Deuce is low. Call it right, and you'll win the dough on the Card Sharks Tournament of Champions. And now, once again, here's your host of Card Sharks, Jose Cazares. Thank you so much, everybody. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in to our second installment of the quarterfinal matchups here on the Card Sharks Season 1 Tournament of Champions, right here on Sleepy Time Studios. We're so glad to have you here with us once again. Last time we started off our tournament with a bang as we sent our first two semifinalists on their way. Will Medina and Chris Rahaman have secured their spots, but tonight 2 more spots are up for grabs. And we have 4 more quarterfinalists who will be battling it out. So let's go ahead and meet our first 2 for this episode. First up, we have our number 2 seed taking on our number 7 seed. Starting off with our number 2 seed, he became our second retired champion, as he was able to pick up 5 wins in a row and retire with a season total so far of $24,250. We welcome back Mr. Chris Chambers.
Oh, good to be back.
Well, Chris, you were able to pull out the retirement. Unfortunately, the money cards just were not your friend, as your total wasn't as high as Will's was. But look at it this way: you did retire, you did secure a spot in this tournament, and here you are now. Do you think that you'll be able to secure a spot in our semifinals?
Yes, I can.
All right. Well, you never know how this is going to turn out, so I wish you the best of luck here.
Thank you.
All right, and let's go ahead and meet your opponent here, playing in the number 7 position here. Coming into this tournament, he was only $700 ahead of the person below him, Lawrence McNeil. He has a total so far in the regular season of $22,700. We welcome back Aaron Glenn.
Hello.
Well, Aaron, like I said, I mean, you were $700 ahead of Lawrence going into the season finale.
Wow.
And it's because of that you're going to be taking on a retired champion here. But you never know how the cards are going to be. Do you think that you will have some good luck carrying over from the regular season heading into this semifinals here?
Well, like you said, don't know how the card's going to be. I'm hoping the cards will work with me tonight.
All right. Well, in any case, I wish you both the best of luck. Let's go ahead and get right into this episode of the quarterfinals here. So, as mentioned on our last episode, I will say the same here. We were only going to be playing the main game, but it'll be the same as it has been for the regular season. The first one of you to win 2 rounds out of 3 will win the match and will move on to the semifinals to join our other 2 semifinalists. The runner-up will get $10,000 as a consolation prize for making it to the tournament. So, with that being said, Chris, since you are the higher seed out of the 2 of you, you'll be playing the red cards, and Aaron, you'll be playing the blue. Here's our first question of the round, of our first round of this game, and Chris, it goes to you. Okay, this one's a little interesting here. Chris, we asked 120-somethings, aka people in their 20s. Should smartphones and tablets be banned from live concerts? How many of those 20-somethings said that they should?
Let's say 65. Excuse me, 65.
65, all right. All right, and folks, I do want to mention this. Chris is unfortunately he is feeling sick. However, he has said before the episode started that he does want to play still, so he will still be participating. All right, so Aaron, higher or lower than 65?
Okay, I got a feeling it might be lower, so I'll go lower.
All right, he says lower than that. The actual number of 20-somethings who believe that smartphones and tablets should be banned from live concerts is 28. It is lower.
Well,
All right, Aaron, you've got control of the cards first. Let's take a look at your opening base card. You start off with a 3.
All right, let's go higher.
All right, going higher than the 3, it's a queen.
All right, let's go lower.
Going on, lower than the queen, it's a 9.
Let's freeze it.
All right, freezing it right there, taking the 2-card lead and keeping Chris away from his cards. And with that, we go now to our second question of the round, and this one goes to Aaron. All right, Aaron, we asked 100 8th graders. In a deck of cards, there are 4 suits: clubs, diamonds, hearts, and what? How many of those 8th graders knew that the 4th suit in a deck of cards is spades?
Hmm.
Now, this is a good
And
question.
You said 8th grades, right?
Yep, these are 8th graders. How many of them knew that that 4th suit was spades?
I'm pretty sure that's a high number because I'm pretty sure they know what suits are in a deck of cards. I'm gonna go 66.
All right, he says 66 out of 100 knew about that 4th suit being spades. Chris, higher or lower than 66?
my set's a little higher.
So says higher than that. All right, the actual number of 8th graders who knew that the 4th suit in a deck of cards is spades is 54. It is not higher.
Oh,
Oh wow.
All right, so Aaron, you've got control once again, and you have that 9 that you can change if you would like to.
Yes, get rid of it.
All right, changing it, the 9 goes away, and we replace it with an 8.
ooh.
Another dirty snowman. You know what? I'm gonna go lower.
Lower than the 8? No, it's a king. All right, so no progress made. You stay where you are, but that does mean that Chris gets a free chance to play off his base card of a 3.
Higher.
Higher than the 3, it's a king.
Oval.
Lower than the king, it's a deuce.
Higher.
Higher than the 2, it's a 4.
I'm going for it higher.
Going for the sweep to pick up the first round of the match. Higher than the 4, it's an ace. He's done it! Wow, what a comeback by Chris, being down by 2 cards and still able to pull off the round win by sweeping the board. And just like that, Chris, you only need to win 1 more round to be through to the semifinals. Wow, very impressive showing there by Chris. Alright, but with that being said, let's go ahead and get the board set up here for our second round. Alright, I do want to apologize for the background noise here, folks. Alright, second round starts with our blue player here. So, Aaron, you are going to be first for this next question.
Okay.
Aaron, we asked 100 married women, have you ever taken money out of your husband's wallet without him ever noticing that it was missing? How many of those married women said that they had?
You know what? I'm gonna go in the middle, 50.
He's going with the trap card in the middle of 50. Chris, higher or lower than 50?
I think it'll be a little higher.
He says higher. Alright. The actual number of married women who have ever taken money out of their husband's wallet without him noticing that it was missing is 5. It is not higher.
Oh wow.
Those men sometimes have observant eyes. All right.
Uh-huh.
But, Aaron, you've got control once again. Here's your base card. It's a 5.
And keep it go higher.
Higher than the 5. It's a jack.
Oh boy, lower.
Lower than the jack. Oh, no, it's a queen. Unfortunately, go back to the 5, and that means Chris gets a free chance to play off his base card of an ace.
Oh.
Lower than the ace, it's a 7.
What I'm going for, I'm going to go higher.
Playing it going higher than the 7, it's a 9.
But I'm going to freeze.
And freezes it right there at the 9, needing only 2 cards to send him to the semifinals. All right. Second question of the round, and this one goes to Chris. Chris, we asked 100 senior citizens. Did a milkman deliver milk to your house when you were growing up? How many of those senior citizens said yes?
It's going to be a high number. 65.
65?
Yes.
All right, he says 65 out of 100 had a milkman deliver milk to them. Aaron, higher or lower than 65?
Let's go lower.
He says lower than that. All right. The actual number of senior citizens who had a milkman deliver milk to their house when they were growing up is 64! Barely lower. Chris, you just missed it by 1 there. And that means now that Aaron gets control once again. And Aaron, you have that 5.
All right, let's go higher.
Higher than the 5, it's a 9.
Okay, I pray to God the next card is lower, so I'm going on lower.
He's going for it, lower than the 9. No, it's a queen. Back to the 5 you go, unfortunately, and Chris gets a free chance to play off that 9, but you cannot change it.
I'm going to go higher, please.
He's going against the odds, higher than the 9. No, it's another 9. Nobody making any progress there. And on we go to question number 3. We are back to Aaron for this one. This one's a funny one in a good way. Aaron, we asked 100 bodybuilders. Are you afraid of spiders? How many of those bodybuilders admitted that they are afraid of spiders?
Wow. Dude, I mean, they shouldn't be, but then again, people do have arachnophobia. You know what? I'm gonna do it again. Play 50.
Doing the trap card again with 50. Chris, higher or lower than 50?
I'm gonna go lower.
Oh, whoops. I hit the wrong lower button. That's all right. That was a mistake of mine. We'll just discard and deal. There. That's the button I meant to fix. My mistake. Not to worry, folks. Just a mistake on my part. All right, so Chris says lower. The actual number of bodybuilders who are afraid of spiders is 47. It is barely lower. All right, so we'll go ahead and clear that. So, Chris, you've got control, and you have that 9.
You please.
No, the price was.
All right, changing it right there. All right, so let's go ahead and fix this. All right, so changing it, the 9 goes away, and we replace it with a deuce.
Higher.
All right, just better make sure this is the right one. Higher than the 2, it's a 6.
What? I'm gonna go higher.
To advance to the semifinals, higher than the 6. It's a jack. You're through to the semifinals. Nicely done, Chris. You are now our 3rd semifinalist, and you're going to be joining Will and Chris Rahaman. We're going to wrap things up with the 2 of you in just a moment. But first, we have to say goodbye to a worthy opponent here in Aaron Glenn. I mean, Aaron, you gave it a valiant effort. You You had to play on those cards that were up the middle there because I know you were trying to catch up, and unfortunately they just did not work out in your favor there. But did you still have fun with us regardless?
Yeah, I had a good time. I had a good time.
Well, hey, you're definitely not leaving out of here empty-handed. Like I said, for just making it here, you're gonna get a consolation prize of $10,000. So when we add that to your total, you leave us here on this season of Card Sharks with a final total of $32,700.
Good game. Thanks.
All right, we thank you both for playing, and Chris, we will be seeing you on our semifinals on our next episode.
Sounds good.
All right, but we now have our third semifinalist. But when we come back from this commercial break, we're going to have our final two quarterfinalists battling it out for the final spot in the semifinals. We'll go ahead and meet those two quarterfinalists right after this here on the Card Sharks Tournament of Champions. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody, to the Card Sharks Tournament of Champions. And this is it, our final quarterfinal match. We've got our last two quarterfinalists here battling it out for one more semifinal spot to join our three newly acquired semifinals. So let's go ahead and meet them both right now. Starting out with our number 3 overall seed. While this contestant may not have retired, he pulled off 2 of the biggest wins in the money cards in the regular season. He only picked up 2 wins overall, but he has a season total of $53,150, the highest out of the non-retired champions. We welcome back Gianni Pizzi.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Well, Gianni, you had a chance to improve on your total, and you definitely ended up getting 3rd place back. And here you are facing a worthy opponent who we're going to introduce here in a moment. This may be the most anticipated matchup between the 4 that we've had so far. Do you think that good luck that you had in the money cards will carry over here to the main game as you try to head to the semifinals?
Oh, I hope so.
All right, well, only thing I can do here is wish you the best of luck. And let's go ahead and welcome in your opponent. He is our number 6 overall seed, and he comes in with a season total of $27,600. We welcome back the Flat Bro Kid, Scott Michaels.
Oh, hi.
All right, Scott, so you've had your share of wins. You were able to do just enough. You stayed in the middle of the pack for a good majority of the regular season. And here you are now at number 6. You're up against the biggest money winner among the non-retired champions here in Gianni. Do you think that you'll be able to potentially pull off an upset here and secure your spot in the semifinals?
Well, as we know, the luck of the cards is the biggest thing in this, so we'll see. Have to see how the cards treat me today.
Absolutely. All right. Well, you already know how we play. We're only doing the main game. So let's go ahead and get right to it, to our first round with our first question. Of course, we know Gianni, since you're the higher seed, you'll be playing the red cards. Scott, you'll be playing the blue. First question of the round goes to Gianni, and away we go. Gianni, we asked 100 people, if you could only eat one or the other for the rest of your life, would you rather choose cake or pie? How many of those people said that they would choose cake?
Like cake would probably be more popular than pie, so it's probably going to be a high number. I'd say 70.
He says 70 out of 100 would choose cake over pie. Scott, higher or lower than 70?
Personally, I would choose pie because it could go many more routes. Something's telling me it's just slightly lower.
Alright, he says lower than that. The actual number of people who, if they could only eat one or the other for the rest of their life, they would choose cake over pie is 56. It is lower. Gotta be honest, I honestly can't decide between the two. I'm slightly leaning more towards pie myself, but I digress. All right, Scott, you've got control of the cards first. Let's see your opening base card. You have a 4.
Ooh, I'll keep it. I'll go higher.
Higher than the 4, it's a king.
Lower.
Lower than the king, it's a deuce.
Higher.
Higher than the 2, it's a 6.
Freeze.
And just like that, Scott only needs one more card to take the early lead in this matchup. All right, second question of the round, and this one goes to Scott. All right, Scott, we asked 100 women in a California studio audience. Do you consider yourself beautiful? How many of those women in that California studio audience said yes, they do consider themselves beautiful?
One, you got women who are going to have self-confidence thinking they're beautiful, which they are. And you got California. So I'm going to say right around 75.
He says 75 out of 100 consider themselves beautiful. Gianni, higher or lower than 75?
I don't know. I feel like none of the women have like a lot of like self-confidence in themselves. Maybe a bit lower on that.
All right, he says lower than that. The actual number of women in the California studio audience who do consider themselves beautiful is 27. It is way lower.
I call bullshit.
That's just how the questions are, Scott. All right, so Gianni, you can control the cards for your first time. Here's your base card. It's a 3.
Go higher.
Higher than the 3, it's a 7.
Freeze.
All right, freezing it right there, keeping Scott away from his cards. Catching up on Scott's lead. But we now go to our third question of the round. And we're back to Gianni for this one. All right, Gianni, we confidently... We confidentially asked 100 New York City cab drivers, have you ever dented a parked car and then driven away without telling anyone? How many of those cab drivers admitted that they had?
I'm gonna say not many of them. Maybe it's a common thing they do. Not as I'd say wouldn't be like they would admit. Maybe about 38.
38?
Yep.
All right, he says 38 out of 100 have done this. Scott, higher or lower than 38?
This sucks because that's right about where I was thinking. If I had to say, it's New York, so I'm sure it happens more frequently. I'm gonna say a tad higher.
All right, he says higher than that. The actual number of New York City cab drivers who have dented a parked car and then driven away without telling anyone is 23. It is not higher. Doesn't happen as often as I thought it would. Well, they got to be cautious there, considering it is New York. All right, Gianni, you have that 7.
Change it.
All right, changing it, the 7 goes away, and we replace it with an 8.
Lower.
Lower than the 8. No, it's a jack. So no progress made there, and Scott gets a free chance to play off the 6.
I'll say higher.
For game 1 of the match, higher than the 6? It's an ace, he's got it! And Scott up 1-0. If he wins one more, he'll pull off an upset and make his way into the semifinals. But of course, Gianni knows that he's had deficits like this before that he's come back from. So let's go ahead and clear the board and get everything set up here for our second round. Alright, second round, of course, same as the first. Except this time we start with the blue player for this one. So Scott, this first question goes to you.
Alright.
Scott, we asked 100 dentists, would you date someone who had terrible teeth? How many of those dentists admitted that they would?
Gonna say 42.
Alright, he says 42 out of 100. Gianni, higher or lower than 40?
Can you say the question again?
Sure. We asked 100 dentists, would you date someone who had terrible teeth? Scott said that 42 would. Higher or lower?
Oh, that could probably go either way, I think. But I'm gonna, not so sure. I might go lower on this one.
Gonna go lower, alright? The actual number of dentists who would date someone who had terrible teeth is 40. It is slightly lower. Oh,
good.
Scott in the ballpark with that one. Alright, so Gianni, you can control the cards first in this round. Let's see your base card. You have a 3.
Higher.
Higher than the 3, it's a 10.
Lower.
Lower than the 10, it's a 7.
Freeze.
Freezing it right there, needing only 2 cards to put us at a tie situation. And he also keeps Scott away from his cards. Alright, and with that we go to our second question of the round. And this one goes to Gianni. Gianni, we asked 100 high school seniors, have you ditched class in the past month? How many of those high school seniors admitted that they had?
Oh, I'm sure they've probably, a lot of them have done it. But not many of them probably do want to, admit that they would. I'm going to say maybe 43.
43? Alright, he says 43 out of 100 have ditched class. Scott, higher or lower than 43?
I don't think that many would have. I'm going to say lower.
Alright, he says lower than that. The actual number of high school seniors who have ditched class in the past month is 44! It is not lower!
Oh, dang!
Again in the ballpark with this one. Oh, man. Alright, so Gianni gets control of the cards once again, and you have that 7.
Change it.
Changing it, the 7 goes away, and we replace it with a 10.
Lower.
Lower than the 10. Oh, no, it's a king!
Oh!
Alright, so unfortunately you stay where you are, but that means Scott gets a free chance to play off his base card of a 9.
Lower.
Lower than the 9, it's a 6.
Higher.
Going for it, higher than the 6. Oh no, it's another 6! You go all the way back to the 9, nobody makes any progress. And that now brings us to the third question of the round, and we are back to Scott for this one. Alright, Scott, we asked 100 fourth graders to complete this familiar phrase. Better late than blank. How many of those fourth graders knew that the phrase is better late than never?
I still would think they're too young for that. I'm going to say 26.
26 out of 100. Alright. Gianni, higher or lower than 26?
I mean, yeah, I'd probably say not many of them. Some of them might, you said these were fourth graders, right?
Yes, these are fourth graders.
Maybe some of them would know. I'd say maybe higher.
This is higher than that. Alright, the actual number of fourth graders who knew that the phrase went better late than never is 22. It is not higher. My goodness, and now the third time in a row that the contestants have been in the ballpark.
I even talked myself out of 22 and going higher, dang it.
Oh, alright, well. Alright, so that means, Scott, you've got control and you have that 9.
I'm going to change it.
Alright, the 9 goes away, and we replace it with a 10, a little better.
Lower.
Lower than the 10. It's a 3.
Higher.
Higher than the 3. It's a 7.
Freeze.
Freezing it right there, putting you in a tie with Gianni. And that'll put us at a very interesting situation as both players need 2 cards to win the round. However, this is our fourth and final question of the round. And this has not changed either, players. We still have sudden death. Still, somebody has to win on this next play of the cards. And the question goes to Gianni. All right, Gianni, we asked 100 psychiatrists. If a man is unfaithful during an engagement, is he likely to be unfaithful during the marriage? How many of those psychiatrists said yes, he is likely to be unfaithful during the marriage?
I'd probably say it's going to be a high number. Like, if they're not, they're probably not going to commit to that. If like they're not committed to the engagement, their marriage probably won't last as long. So I'd say maybe about 73.
All right, he says 73 out of 100. Scott, higher or lower than 73?
Case once again where he was same ballpark I was. I'm gonna go against the odds and say higher.
All right, here we go. For all important control of the cards, the actual number of psychiatrists who, if a man is unfaithful during an engagement, they believe that he is likely to be unfaithful during the marriage is 89. It is higher.
Yes.
Gutsy call by Scott to go against the odds on that one, but it worked out. So Scott, you've got the decision. Now, as we've seen, as you can see, both of you need 2 cards to win the round. You have a 7 that you can change. Gianni has a 10 that he cannot. Do you want to keep control for yourself or force Gianni to play off the 10?
If I'm gonna win this, I'm gonna put it in my own hands. I'm gonna play. I'm gonna change the 7.
All right, good luck to you taking control, changing the 7, and all important change coming up here. The 7 goes away, and we replace it with a 9.
Alright.
All right, so got to call these 2 correctly. One wrong move, and we have a tie game.
I don't feel comfortable saying it, but lower.
Lower than the 9. It's a 6.
Higher.
To advance to the semifinals. Higher than the 6. It's a jack. You are through to the semis.
Good game, Gianni.
And Scott pulls off the upset. The number 16 is through to the semifinals. We're going to wrap things up here in just a moment with you, Scott, but we got to say goodbye to a heck of a champion and a heck of a player in Gianni. I mean, Gianni, I got to say, I think I speak for Scott when I say that you gave him a run for his money here.
Oh, I definitely did.
I mean, both of you kept it close. I honestly didn't know who was going to win this match. But either way, did you still have fun with us regardless?
Yeah, of course I did.
Well, hey, you're definitely not leaving out of here empty-handed. You've got a ton of money to show for it, despite only picking up 2 wins in the regular season. And we're going to give you another $10,000 for making it this far. So when we add that to your season total, you leave us here on Card Sharks with a final total of $63,150. And our thanks for playing. Congratulations, Gianni.
Thank you. Have a good time.
All right, that is Gianni Pizzi, everybody. And Scott, you did it. You pulled it off. You are through to the semifinals.
Wow.
All right, so with that being said, the semifinals have been set. So when we see you next week, the semifinal matchups are as follows. Will be taking on Scott, and Chris Chambers will be taking on Chris Rahaman. So those are the matchups that will be taking place in our semifinals, set to be taking place on our next episode. But until that time comes, thank y'all so much for joining us here on the quarterfinals for this season of Card Sharks. And until next time when the semifinals begin, I'm your host, Jose Cazares, and we'll see you for the semifinals here on Card Sharks. Good night, everybody.